Hey, it's Alex with Cruises Computers. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, we're going to be comparing the LTT Precision Screwdriver to the iFixit kit. Now, full disclosure, in middle school, I had surgery that took me out of school, and during that time, I was homeschooled, and I nerded out over computers and space. Now, during that time, you could not go to YouTube videos on YouTube without running across Linus Tech Tips, especially if you're a computer nerd like I was. So, huge fan of Linus Tech Tips, have been a fan for over a decade. Just wanted to get that out of the way, full disclosure, but this is going to be an unbiased opinion. So a couple things I wanted to go over. One, these bits feel a little bit more precise. Now, as a contractor with Dell and Lenovo, I work on a lot of laptops every day, and I have learned which bits to use on which laptops and whatnot. And with the iFixit kit, I tend to find myself always picking between these three, unless I have a specialty that needs like a Torx 5 or something like that. But with the LTT screwdriver, it was a little bit hard to adjust because these bits feel a little bit more precise. There were times when I was on a laptop that I work with all the time, and I had to keep switching bits because they were just a little bit more precise than I was used to. Usually I just grab, this one off the iFixit kit, and then I can just do everything in that area. With this one, I had to switch a little bit around. A little bit of a downside there, but I'm not going to necessarily classify that because these are just a little bit more precise. Super fun to work with, by the way. You kind of have the gimmick, which is the fidget, which have a lot of fun with. I do find myself just fidgeting while working a lot of the time. I do my double checks of everything, make sure every ribbon cable is connected and whatnot, and you find yourself doing that. Although this one, super quiet, doesn't really spin that well. Spins nicely when you're just kind of fidgeting. This one, a little bit of an annoying noise, but it does fidget really nicely. Love that. Of course, we got the bit storage in here. Man, I absolutely love the screwdriver, but it does take a little bit of a learning curve. The other thing I want to talk about is the magnet. When you have a screw on this bit, you have to try to shake it hard enough to make that screw fall. With the iFixit kit, the magnet is pretty strong, but I do find myself dropping bits from time to time. And actually, I was working on a rugged laptop where, they're kind of thread lockered in there. It's kind of a pain to get out anyway. But some of them I would unscrew all the way, and I try to pull it out, and the iFixit just wasn't necessarily doing all of them. I'd say 90% of them it was coming out. But I found myself using this one just for the stronger magnet to get it out of there. Also, one more thing about the magnet. This is just kind of a fluke, I'd imagine. I doubt this magnet is actually that strong. But I was pulling out a battery on a Dell laptop, and on this specific laptop, the battery screws were captive. And this was my first time using the LTT screwdriver at work. This is going to stay home with me. The quality here, I just want for home. I don't want to abuse it daily at work. But it actually removed one of the captive screws because the magnet just wasn't letting go of it. Love the magnets. Love the fact that, it's so much easier to grab your screw, secure your screw, or a lot of the time I like to move multiple screws at once just to get it out of the way, and this magnet is well equipped for that. Now, for my use case, this wouldn't really work too well because I need the iFixit stuff anyway, and this does not attach where the iFixit kit does. Obviously, iFixit made this specifically for that, so this is super convenient. Gonna keep this as my daily driver at work, but I get the best for myself in my home lab. Super nice. One of the things Linus was talking about in one of the WAN shows is they're not just copying products. If they feel like they can improve on something, they're going to do that. And I feel like this is a pretty clear case of that. I don't think they're copying iFixit at all. In the WAN show, he did say, they didn't invent precision screwdrivers. So I don't think this is a copy. I don't think this is one of one. Actually, I think these bits are more made for kind of like the average tinkerer who likes pulling apart, different devices and gadgets, where this one I find very useful for the laptops I work on. This one I feel like is more aimed towards, gadgets, and I use laptops too, but yeah, I feel like this is for more of the enthusiast tinkerer. Now, I wish I could incorporate this more into my work setup, but I'm too streamlined already. All I really do is pull out my ESD mat and this, and I'm good to go with the motherboard replacement. I would like to see a further lineup, just kind of include this or keep this in mind when, if they do release more gadgets or Pride tools or whatever. I don't personally think they're going to go into the pry tool market just because they have a good relationship with iFixit. iFixit kind of has most of that covered. They're definitely not going to expand into tutorials and whatnot on taking stuff apart, but it'd be nice to see if this kind of gets expanded on. Another thing I would like to mention is just how it actually feels to use it when you have, let's say, a thread lock screw and a Dell rugged or whatever. With the iFixit kit, the furling goes more up. I'd say it's about, the Linus is about 3/4 the size of the furling. And I don't know if I'm just more used to the iFixit kit. Obviously, I've fixed hundreds of computers with this versus just a couple with this to test it out. But I kind of have a hard time adjusting to kind of get that grip that I want, especially without the furling. Because a lot of times, I do this number where I'll put, get my screw in and just kind of do this. Sometimes, you need to grab it like that. But it's just a little bit harder for me to find grip. But once you find that grip, I do find it slightly easier to kind of loosen this tight screw with this. Definitely one of those niche problems to have. Obviously, most screws aren't thread locked down and they're a lot easier to remove. And one of the problems I guess I have is I have huge hands. So not necessarily my ideal use case, but it's something that I definitely love. I love messing around with it. Definitely nice to have. It's like an enthusiast product. If you're a fan of LTT, you're gonna love this screwdriver. I do think I'm not going to be using the bit storage because a lot of the time I'm going to be carrying around the carrying case anyway. I do think it's nice to have. I guess I just worry about the long-term side effects of that. If this is going to wear down quicker or not, or if it's just going to not be, I know they say replaceable, but that's obviously something that most people don't want to have to deal with. So I do have some worries about that, but it's a nice little feature to have, especially if, you're dealing with the same screws on a daily basis. Just load them up and you don't need the case or whatever. But for my case, I'm going to be carrying it around anyway, so it's not something that I'm personally going to be using. So there we have it. I try to be as unbiased as possible, especially when there is sort of bias already there. This is not going to replace my iFixit kit just because of my specific use case. I specifically work on laptops and desktops in my day job, and then I come home and I like to tinker with the desktops. This is just a nice to have, where I feel like iFixit and their iFixit kit specifically is just my use case 100%. I do want to say I'm very happy with this, but for my specific use case, it's not going to be daily use. It's just going to be something, okay, well, I'm going to be taking something apart, or just I want something nice and precise. I'm going to be grabbing this all the time when I'm home. But for the day job of working with Dell and Lenovo, the iFixit kit has a huge place in my heart. Can't go anywhere without this. I mean, this is like the 4th kit I've bought. Not because I need it. I just wanted to upgrade every now and then. And then now I have one downstairs and one in the car for the repairs. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I got a lot of stuff planned for this year. Super excited about what's to come. I just can't let go of my iFixit kit. This thing has been a beauty. But, it's kind of hard not, thinking about this when you're on site and working. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks.